The elbows can be one of the most challenging places to relax while playing the harp. It's easy for them to become overworked and tense without us realizing it, and because we don't really use these muscles in real life, it's also difficult to let go of even once we've noticed that there's something way too tense in there. Hey, I'm Samantha, and in this video I'm going to share some of my best tips for letting go of that tension and having a little more ease in your playing so that you can avoid injury and sound your best. Now, for a quick experiment, let's try this together. See if you can squeeze your elbows. Not for very long, and then let go of them. If you can do that, great. Pay attention to that feeling of like when you squeeze your elbows and when you let go of them. That's something you can harness when you're playing the harp. If you weren't able to do that, totally okay. It's a weird spot to isolate. It's hard to figure out, how do I even control these muscles? And that's especially true in the middle of playing the harp because there's so many other things to think about. Since that's the case, what we can actually do is focus on other areas of the body that are a little bit easier to control because everything in your body is connected. So if you relax one spot, there's a good chance that other parts of your body are going to relax a little bit more as well. What we're going to do is we're going to start with your torso. First of all, let's think about your spine. I want you to think, you know those like old-fashioned coat racks where it's like a rod going straight up and then there's kind of like hooks coming off? That's what we want to think about your spine as. So we want to think about your spine kind of almost shooting up to the ceiling, shooting upwards. That's your like iron pole that's supporting you, okay? Then you want to think about your collarbones as like a hanger that you've hung upon your coat rack. So the hanger doesn't need to be lifted up. It's being supported by your spine, okay? We want to think about the sides of your shoulders, sides of your collarbones kind of drifting out from left to right. Something my first Alexander technique teacher taught me was to think about a smile across your collarbones. So we want those to be nice and relaxed. And then we want to kind of think about your arms almost as if, you know, if your spine is the coat rack, your collarbone is the hanger, your arms are going to be the sleeves of a coat that you've hung upon that hanger. So really, there's kind of weight in your collarbone anchoring you downwards. We don't want to have weight in the arms themselves. We want to almost like think of your arms as being weightless. The next thing we want to do when we're sitting at the harp, we want to kind of maybe think about, if you've ever done yoga, they kind of talk about like lift your heart. You know, if you hold your hands up to your chest like a yoga pose, we don't want to have like your chest collapsed behind your shoulders. We want to bring it back up to kind of to center. Now, we want to be careful. We don't want to push it out super far this way because that's going to actually increase the amount of tension in your chest. It's going to press on a bunch of nerves and arteries and things. We don't want to do that. But we just want to make sure the chest is not collapsed. It can be really easy when we're playing for our shoulders to round forward and our chest to come back. So I really find that when I let my chest come back to sort of this gentle lifted position, my elbows feel a lot better. Okay, so let's take these things and we're going to come to the harp. So again, we want to think spine shooting straight up. We want to think collarbone is the hanger, just hanging off the spine, pressing downwards. Okay, I'm going to bring my harp back to my shoulder gently. And then I'm just going to wish to raise my arms up a little bit. Just weightless floating arms hanging off the hanger that is my collarbones. Okay, so we're going to place our fingers, and now when it's time to play, I just want you to play something, just anything. And I want you to see if you can notice which part of your hand or your fingers feels like it's doing work. Which part is like making your finger play. You know, is it this part of your finger? Is it the inside of your palm? Is it the outside back of your hand? Is it your fingertips? Is it a knuckle? What's actually doing the work of playing the strings? See if you can feel like which muscles are activating here. And so wherever you feel like in your hand is doing work, what we actually want to aim for is to feel like we're playing from the fingertips. So what that sort of means is we want to think about, there's a few ways I like to describe this. One is like you can think about there being strength at your fingertip, and everything else in your hand is like almost floppy. Not literally, you know, we're not gonna fall off the harp, but in your imagination, can we think about strength at your fingertip and everything else through your finger and your hand is just loosey-goosey. Or another way I sometimes like to describe this is if you could imagine yourself with a thimble on your finger and pushing that thimble downwards, or I guess in the case of your thumb, forwards. Give that a try. I know visually it can be, you may not be able to see the difference, but the main thing about when we're relaxing the body, it's not really about what it looks like, it's really about what it feels like on the inside of your body. So just notice, what does that feel like for you? Does that help? And when we combine these things, thinking about our collarbones being heavy, being weightless in our arms, playing from the fingertips, strengthen your fingertip, and just loosey-goosey, floppy in the rest of the arm, rest of the fingers, rest of the hand. Check in again with your elbow. How does your elbow feel? Do you remember what it felt like before? How does it feel now? Next time your elbow is feeling a little tight, a little tense, maybe it's getting a little sore, try these things, right? Because we're kind of addressing the front end of your arm and the end of your arm. And so if we can relax this end and this end, chances are the middle is going to follow suit. But as I said before, our whole bodies are connected. So it's possible there might be tension elsewhere in your body. So if you want to have some help figuring out where that might be and how to relax the rest of your body, check out this video right here. And if you'd like to work through this stuff with a harp teacher instead of wondering if you're doing it right on your own, check out the link in the description for information on my harp studio. Thanks for watching. See you later.